Okay, so you're thinking about a career as a sorter laborer. Hmm,
Huh?
not exactly the kind of job title that gets you jazzed up, right?
Right, not at first glance anyway.
But we've got a whole stack of info here, mainly from this career website, RoleCatcher, and let me tell you, even I was surprised by some of this stuff. Ready to dive in?
Absolutely. Let's uncover what makes this career path tick.
Okay, so we've all got this image in our heads, right? Someone sorting plastic from paper, maybe tossing a few cans in a bin. Pretty basic, yeah.
Seems straightforward enough.
But get this, the guide mentions optical sorting machines, like actual machines with sensors that can tell different materials apart.
Now that's where things get interesting. It's like high tech meets recycling, which is pretty cool when you think about it.
Totally. And it kind of hints that there might be more to this job than meets the eye.
Definitely. It's not just about manual labor anymore. It's about understanding how these machines work, maybe even troubleshooting them if something goes wrong.
And speaking of unexpected things, did you catch the part about hazardous materials being a regular part of the job?
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
So it's not all cardboard boxes and empty soda cans. You got to be ready to deal with some potentially dangerous stuff.
Definitely highlights the importance of safety in this role, and not just personal safety, but also knowing how to handle those materials properly to protect the environment.
Exactly. Which is why they emphasize the whole training aspect and knowing the ins and outs of waste regulations. It's like, you're not just sorting. You're kind of like the gatekeeper of the whole recycling process. Pretty important role when you think about it that way.
Absolutely, there's a lot of responsibility that comes with those sorting decisions.
Okay, so let's talk pros and cons for a sec. They actually list physical activity as a pro, which I guess makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's a physically demanding job for sure. You're on your feet all day, lifting heavy bags, constantly moving around.
Definitely not your typical desk job. But then, of course, there's the dust, the potential for some, let's just say, interesting smells. And let's not forget about those hazardous materials we talked about. It's a bit of a trade-off, isn't it?
It is. It's about finding that balance, figuring out if the physical nature of the work aligns with what you're looking for.
For sure. Okay, so maybe not the most glamorous job in the world, but here's where it gets a little wild career progression. They actually have different levels of sorter laborers, all the way up to senior sorter laborer.
Senior sorter laborer, that's a thing.
Yeah, it's like they have a whole ranking system.
Huh. Who knew there was such a hierarchy in the sorting world?
Right, and it makes you wonder, what does a senior sorter laborer even do?
Well, it sounds like it's where the thinking part of the job really comes in. Maybe they're the ones analyzing data from those optical sorting machines we talked about, or managing teams of sorters, ensuring everything runs smoothly and efficiently.
Data analysis. For a sorter laborer, that's
Yeah.
wild. What kind of data are we even talking about here?
Good question. Imagine things like tracking contamination rates in different batches of recyclables, or analyzing the types of materials coming in to see if there are any trends or patterns.
Huh, that actually makes a lot of sense. You could probably learn a lot about people's recycling habits that way.
Right. And that data could be super valuable for improving the whole recycling process, making it more efficient, more effective.
That's way more responsibility and analytical thinking than I ever would have guessed.
It just goes to show there might be hidden depths to even the most unexpected jobs out there. You start by sorting, who knows, maybe you end up analyzing data and coming up with innovative solutions for a greener future.
Okay, I'm actually kind of intrigued now.
Right, it's all about keeping an open mind.
Okay, so we've gone from someone sorting old newspapers to, like, a data analyst trying to make recycling better. Quite the career path, huh? But what does a day in the life of a sorter laborer actually look like? The website gives us some pretty interesting examples.
Yeah, it's those everyday details that really paint a picture, don't they?
Totally. Okay, so picture this. You clock in, throw in all your safety gear, because, safety first, and bam, you're facing a mountain of trash. No 2 days are the same, right?
Definitely not. Every batch of stuff is different. One day it's cardboard boxes, the next, it could be a mix of everything under the sun.
And it's not just about chucking things into bins randomly either. The guide makes it sound like there's a real technique to it, almost like detective work.
Oh, absolutely. You've got to inspect everything carefully, looking for anything that could contaminate the recycling stream.
Contamination. But
Like, say, a plastic bag that snuck into the paper bin or some food residue on a container. Those little things can mess up the whole recycling process.
wow, I never really thought about it like that. So attention to detail is key. And you got to be pretty physically fit too, right? All that lifting and moving around all day.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. It's definitely a physically demanding job. And did you see they even list cleaning as part of the job description?
Really? I guess that makes sense, though, keeping everything clean and organized, especially with potentially dangerous stuff around.
Exactly. It's not just about personal hygiene, it's about safety for everyone.
So you're sorting, you're cleaning. You might even be running those high-tech sorting machines we talked about.
And as you get more experience, you might even find yourself training new hires, showing them the ropes, becoming a bit of a mentor.
Right, sharing your expertise on how to spot different materials, maybe even troubleshooting problems. Sounds like there's a real team spirit in this kind of environment.
Definitely. Like you're all working towards a common goal.
Fighting the good fight against waste.
Yeah.
And then, as you climb that career ladder, that teamwork could turn into leading a team, analyzing data, maybe even presenting your findings to the higher-ups.
Right. And making a real impact on how the whole operation runs.
So it's not just about sorting, it's about problem solving, teamwork, and even a bit of leadership. Pretty impressive, huh?
Definitely more than meets the eye, that's for sure.
So for anyone listening who's considering this as a career, think about it. The physical demands, the problem-solving aspect, and yeah, maybe even that occasional whiff of yesterday's dinner. How does it all sit with you now?
Right.
Wild, right? We started off thinking sort of labor, kind of mundane, but now it's like, whoa, physical work, attention to detail, and the high-tech equipment.
Right. Really shows how our initial impressions of a job can be so far off. There's a lot more to it than meets the eye.
Totally. And get this, they even have a whole section on building a career as a sorter laborer. Like professional development, even creating a portfolio of your work. A portfolio for sorting. That's next level.
It speaks to this idea that no matter what you do, there's always room to develop your skills, to become an expert in your field.
Yeah, like here's my resume, and oh, by the way, check out my perfect sorting technique. Zero contamination, guaranteed.
Exactly. It's about taking pride in your work, whatever that work may be.
100%. 100%. Okay, so we've covered a ton of ground here. The ups and downs, the surprising skills, the potential to, like, move up in the sorting world. What would you say is the biggest takeaway for our listeners? Especially if they're actually thinking about this as a career path.
I think the key takeaway here is do your research. We've done a deep dive here, looked at the good, the bad, and the, well, let's just say aromatic aspects of the job.
Right, no sugarcoating here.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
all about having the full picture so you can decide if it's the right fit for you.
For sure. And based on what we've seen, someone who likes to stay active, has a good eye for details, and isn't afraid of a little tech, they could actually do really well in this job.
Absolutely. And who knows, maybe even work their way up to managing a whole team of sorters. The possibilities are there.
It's sorting superstar. But hey, before we wrap up, here's something to think about. The guide mentions automation a few times, robots and all that. So how do you think that's going to change the role of a sorter laborer in the future? Will robots take over completely, or will there always be a need for that human touch?
Something to ponder, right?
Definitely something to keep in mind. The future of work is always evolving.
Well, that wraps up another deep dive. Hope you found it insightful.
Always a pleasure. Until next time.